So my job now is to try, and I do my best at rounding up the last couple of days. Yeah, I've been squirreling away there in the corner, working on various points, and it's about 4 pages, but it won't take me long. So I suppose the first thing to do is, of course, say that we're coming to an end of another fantastic year, the 5th year of the Global Restaurant Investment Forum. To me, the value of this event is the true global voice that it presents on both the stage and also in the audience amongst yourselves. 58 nationalities represented this year. Isn't that superb? From this international viewpoint, there are clearly going to be different opportunities and challenges per region. But that said, there are themes that do run globally, and I think you will have seen that over the last couple of days. On a macro basis, there will continue to be a squeeze of retail with continued digitization of this space. The experience, or should I say the emotion economy perhaps now, will continue to grow, but with it, it will also mean that there will be more funds. The tangible nature of food and beverage as a sector means that we sit in a somewhat protected environment. Ultimately, humans need to eat, we need to drink, and it is an ancient tradition to eat and drink together. And I think that's what protects us as a sector. You can have lots of other things delivered, and don't get me wrong, we know the delivery market's growing and a massive part of what we do. But that idea of coming together to eat and drink will always be there, and I think we can agree on that. Aside from the cyclical nature of the economy, which we've heard a lot about, it is a tough time. It seems there's a tough time here. We know there's a tough time in the US. We know there's a tough time in the UK. But that is cyclical. If we look at a more of a secular trend, we will continue to be attractive to investors, and I think increasingly so, because of that issue of tangibility and where people put their money. This will continue to give way to new innovative concepts. It will continue to give way to unit growth, and it will make for an even more competitive market. And with that, as supply outstrips demand, it means that we do have to continually innovate. If we continued looking at the macro trends, many talk about a challenge in staffing. I actually think this will be short to mid-term, and I think we've heard kind of bits of this popping out of the sessions. But the continued development of technology and automation will see a gargantuan shift in the job market, in the transport, retail, and manufacturing sectors with automation. I mean, it is happening and it will happen. It's interesting, my brother, on a personal note, recently trained as a truck driver and came home and said, well, the positive is I'll always have a job. And I dare not say to him that, well, actually, have you not seen the news? Because realistically, you may not be driving that truck. You may be sitting in it as a passenger for a period of time. It will undoubtedly create more availability to great talent, but that said, that great talent may not be here through experience and with the experience in our sector, and actually may not be here through choice, quite frankly. I think we only have to look in many countries around the world, and we know this all too well in Europe, that as a sector, we're not necessarily an attractive sector for a career, unfortunately. We have to do more about that as a sector, and that has to be owned by the whole sector, and we need to invest better in training. We really need to move forward in terms of not just at a business level in terms of training, but a sector-wide level, coordinated, and I think that really needs people working together, cross-business and across the world. As businesses scale, it's vital that they communicate with better with their teams, engage them in their brand. And how do you grow? Well, in terms of driving growth, we've heard lots of advice over the past few days. To continue to thrive during this time, it's going to need incredible retail standards, considerable innovation, and differentiated thinking. Leveraging technology operationally in the back of house particularly to deliver better in terms of the customer and to make more of a margin. We need to think more strategically about brands, add depth to it, think holistically about marketing, get the right support around you, including great financiers, great marketers, and great operators. And they need to be managed by leaders who understand customers, the market, technology, and data, as well as how to operate effectively and lead a team. Our customers are increasingly sophisticated, with a growing expectation. The continued generational shift in mindset is not going backwards, it will continue. It's going to keep moving forwards, and we're seeing a wave of thinking moving across the world where people want equality. They want to be respected, and they want to make a difference. Our world also needs this. We heard this in terms of the environmental impact. From food waste to our energy use, our sector wastes a lot, and again, we need to work through this, and it's absolutely integral to our sector and our success in the future. We're becoming more global in the way we think, and people are becoming more global in the way they think, but yet that's in contrast to this reverse of globalization. Things are becoming more and more local, and that's a trend that's going to continue. We need to make our thinking more holistic. We need to think about people and how they can connect on an emotional basis with our brands. What matters to them, what matters to us, and actually, who cares? Put that filter on everything you're doing. Do your customers really care? Think about what you're doing, understand your customers, understand their occasions and their motivations, decide how to drive value for your brand based on all of these factors. That's what it comes down to, and that's what we've heard over and over again. These are key themes. That can be outside your walls. We heard from the brands like Freedom that they're doing lots in terms of this online and offline kind of cross-transformation piece. But then we also heard from Hacon that it's about creating amazing experiences within their own walls. So whatever your strategy is, you've just got to do it really, really well. At a certain time, when things get tough, it's very easy to have your attentions diverted from what's most important. What's most important is the frontline business and your customers. The front line in our businesses will always be most important. That's the coalface, and we need to communicate better with our frontline staff and get their buy-in, and in tough times, do push back on your investors and finances when they try and steal your time. Uncertainty and unclear vision is a step towards decline. You have to create a narrative that inspires. How about investors? Investors are looking for differentiated, systemized, and proven. That's what we heard. It must return, not just on adrenaline, but on a clear brand and operational management, and it's got to have a record of success. Think about the right partners and investors for your brand. Drive for sustainable, controllable growth, and I think this is key. Let's look at what's happened in the US, UK economy, and what we're hearing is probably going to happen again here in the Middle East. It's about unsustainable growth. We need to be sustainable in our growth. We need to have the expertise of the right people on board around us, and we also need to challenge existing models. Reality is that actually the general basis that we operate a full-service restaurant on has not changed in 2 decades. There might have been other elements added in. We might have added technology in. We might have done all those things, but the actual basis of the business model hasn't changed. Perhaps we're going to see more of that coming. Don't grow too quickly was the advice, and don't overpay for property was even bigger advice. It's time for innovators and smaller operators to shine, with bigger players and legacy estates and brands needing to adapt and tread really carefully. Without doubt, there will be trade acquisitions, I think, over the next few years, and that will be a significant play, particularly of larger brands buying smaller brands to help them move out of this challenging period. This challenging market means we'll have more localized and smaller brand formats. We've heard it here, and over lunch I had several conversations over the last couple of days. I think on that basis, it's a really exciting time if you're the right people. It's a really challenging time for most people, but ultimately it's a time that we should all be proud of what we're doing as a sector. I wanted to use the opportunity very briefly to talk a little bit about what I'm doing, because I know that I've had a change recently. And we have pretty much just launched Think Hospitality over the last couple of weeks officially. And we fundamentally are developing strategies that grow grow businesses and grow hospitality businesses. We do that in a number of ways, and this is some. My background, I've worked with a 22-site restaurant group in the UK for the last couple of years. I've run marketing agencies in 3 countries, and I've also grew up in the sector. I know this sector inside out. I launched a hotel and restaurant that got to 50 best about 10 years ago, and I really love every single part of it. So if there's anything at all that I can help you with, then do let me know, because we'd love to be able to work with you. And my business partner is Mikkel Ingman, who's been on stage over the last couple of days as well. So on that basis, I wanted to say a piece of personal advice, actually, for these conferences. I spend a lot of time at conferences, and I'm very lucky that way. But it's very easy to go away from here and not actually deliver against anything you've heard. Do yourself a favor and open that notes section on your phone, write down 3 things that you're going to do from this event, and make sure you go away and you do those 3 things and you take the most out of the event. It's great to come and be inspired. It's even better to get something out of it that's tangible. Go on LinkedIn, connect with the people who you've met here, build networks for the future, and of course, join GRIF Society. It's a really, really amazing idea from these guys at Bench, and yeah, I'm really, really pleased and proud to be involved. I'm looking forward to seeing you all in Amsterdam and at global briefings, and I think it would be remiss of me not to thank Jennifer, Sasha, Jonathan, Marla, Ali, Annie, and Joe. So please give them a huge round of applause for an amazing job. On that note, that's all from me. I'm going to pass you to Jennifer for a very few final words. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, James. I have no idea how you manage to do that every year. It's absolutely mind-boggling. But I'm also volunteering James to write up his notes, and we will send those to you guys as well. So you have a little summary of the conference, along with the slides when we send that over to you. Now, well done to you, because you're still here on day 3 of the conference. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm exhausted. It's been absolutely fabulous from my perspective. I really hope that you guys have taken a lot out of it. And as James said, make sure that you don't just leave inspired and with some new business cards, but make sure that actually you kind of look at GRIF every year as something that actually really improves your business and really improves the connections that you're making. James did most of the plugging for me. But just to remind you about GRIF Society, we're going to be in touch in the next couple of weeks to tell you a bit more about what we have in store. But essentially, our aims are international, so we're doing things on a global basis. We're looking to connect people, and we're going to provide you with access to intelligence. So I really hope that we will see you in London in June, Dubai in September, Nairobi in October, Riyadh in November, and of course in Amsterdam in February. Which means that we have a lot of work to do over the next couple of months. But I really hope that you've had a great time. Please do grab any one of us here or email us with your feedback. GRIF is something that we do almost as a passion project. We love it. And we just want to keep growing the event. So please do give us your feedback. Tell us what works, what doesn't, and how we can make the experience better for you. So thank you guys all so much. And I really hope that you're in. So I'll see you next year.